Well, what a great start to our next presentation, which is obviously Great Northern Minerals. Ladies and gentlemen, the ASX code is GNM. And joining us today is McLean. He's the Managing Director of Great Northern Minerals. They're an explorer as well as a developer, and they've got the company's Golden Ant project. Now, if you thought the Golden Ant project was to do with ants, no, it's to do with antimony. I thought it was to do with ants. Cameron, what a great video to open up. Kind of tells the story really nicely, but now I'll let you take it over to give us a bit of a more in-depth look.
Yeah, great. Thanks very much, Kerry, and good morning to everybody. So Golden Ant, I just discovered the other day that Golden Ant wasn't the insect, but it is for antimony, so that's why they call everything ant there. Thanks for the opportunity to come and to present to you. I just want to tell you a little bit more about Great Northern Minerals, formerly Green Power Energy. We'll start with the corporate snapshot. We've got 1.7 billion shares on issue, market cap of 6.8 million. We did a capital raise just before Christmas last year, and so we are fully funded to carry out our exploration activities. Couple of movements on the board. Simon Coxell stepped back to a non-executive director role, and we put on a full-time exploration manager who's based out of Townsville. And Donald Garner joined the board. Some may know Donald. He was took Red River Group, or RVR, from a $1 million shell to a market cap of 150 million.
Nice.
So yeah, he's been a valuable addition. We've got 3 projects in North Queensland that are located around about 300 kilometres west of Townsville. Probably our closest neighbour would be Superior Resources, or SPQ. We acquired the projects from a deceased estate around about 2.5 years ago. They were previously privately held, had no JORC resource attached. We've now drilled over 18,000 metres and have a resource base of 386,000 ounces, following an MRE earlier this year at Camel Creek, and also 9,000 tonnes of antimony, both of which we're looking to build on. So Camel Creek is our flagship project. We released the MRE, came out at 202,000 ounces, and as I say, 9,000 tonnes of antimony, which we're currently doing met testing on the gold and the antimony to work out the best way to process it. We've worked hard, as you can see there, to secure ground around Camel Creek. So the light blue is application. Douglas Creek, which there was an announcement came out this morning about exploration activities at our new discovery at Douglas Creek, which we're very excited about, and I'll talk about a little bit later. So we started drilling at Camel Creek April of last year. RC Drilling uncovered a hinge zone, which a new zone, a high-grade zone. You can see from some of the numbers there, 56 metres at 4.14, including 20 metres at 10.87. 12 metres at 1.47, 24 metres at just under 6. So it's quite exciting. We're keen to get back there and further tests underneath that high-grade zone because we can see that it's open at depth. A bit about antimony. So as part of the resource estimate, the 9,000 tonnes of antimony, which we expect to build on, antimony has been declared a critical mineral with other minerals such as light and heavy rare earths. Antimony mainly has uses as a fire retardant, but it's also used in antimony-based battery materials. And just to give you an idea on that last sentence there, in 2005 or 2006, antimony prices were about 5,000 US a tonne.
Goodness me, that's crazy.
Yeah. It is, yeah. Golden Cup, it's around about 30 kilometres from Camel Creek to the east. And that was the first drill program that we undertook late 2019. We completed just over 1,700 meters around about a month ago, further testing those high-grade zones, and we're currently waiting for those assays to come back. So we increased the resource base of the company by 110%, not 110,000, along with the antimony resource earlier this year. We're continuing to see that grow and looking to be sort of knocking on 500,000 ounces sometime next year. We've got a scoping study underway, which will help to determine not only the viability of the project, but what is the optimal outcome of those projects. As you can see from previous mapping, there's quite a number of regional targets around Camel Creek and Golden Cup that we're keen to investigate. Douglas Creek is a new.
Okay, so for some reason we seem to have lost the presentation for a moment and lost Cameron, but he's back. He'll just share his screen again. That's the joys of doing things live sometimes, but it's all good. Thanks, Cameron. Just a slight glitch there.
Yep, all right. Can you see that now?
It's coming up. It's coming up. There we go. Yeah, you're back to the Douglas Creek Greenfield discovery.
Okay, sorry about that.
No worries.
So the RGS follows around about 574 soil samples and a huge number of rock chip samples. You can see from some of those numbers there why we're keen to get out there and test it. So we've got 5 zones covering around about 125 hectares. So some of those anomalous gold, silver and copper numbers there, we're keen to get out and test those 5 zones. We've signed the access agreement with the landholder. We've got native title survey happening next month. So all things going well, and weather permitting, we'd like to be drilling there by November. So the images have been coming thick and fast from excited fieldies at Douglas Creek, and there's one of the examples there. Mike Barr and his team have been there. Other than the Golden Cup drilling that we did, they've been pretty much sleeping at Douglas Creek for the last 2 to 3 months.
Goodness me.
So just looking forward, what our news flow looks like for the immediate future. I mentioned those assays coming back from Golden Cup, sort of hoping that the arsenic pyrite that came under the XRF is an indication of gold mineralisation. Scoping study continues to help us understand how to unlock the value of these projects, and we'll keep increasing our resource base. As I say, to get to that 500,000 ounces, but also increasing our exposure to critical metals such as antimony, and also looking to further that Douglas Creek discovery, so people can expect to see some sort of assays from that RC drill campaign at Douglas Creek towards the end of the year. And that's pretty much me. Okay.
Well, Cameron, a great presentation. Thank you very much for also making sure that we know that ant is not ants, it's antimony. And you actually mentioned the fact, and I wasn't aware of this as much, that antimony and gold are often found together, but I didn't realize that antimony is now being used as, you know, as technology evolves into the sort of the battery, so it's becoming a critical metal.
Yeah, it is. And if you there's especially out of the US, there's a lot of technology advancing and a lot of grants available for people furthering the antimony-based battery materials. So it's quite exciting.
It's a really exciting area to be in, and I think what you've got is very interesting. Peter's just asking, and by the way, ladies and gentlemen, if you want to ask questions, pop them into the Q&A box and I will make sure that I ask Cameron. Peter's just saying, once you commence at Douglas Creek, the drilling, how long will the drilling be at Douglas Creek?
So it's a bit of a backlog at the moment. So resourcing at the labs is quite low. So we're finding there's like a minimum of 6 to 8 weeks turnaround. We try and get there as fast as we can, but yeah, they're quite understaffed.
No, but he's asking how long will you be drilling for at Douglas Creek?
All right, okay. Probably take a couple of weeks. So I'd say around about a 2,000 metre drill program. And so, you know, up to about 200 metres a day, depending on weather. So yeah, 10 days to 14 days. Okay,
so another question that's come up is historically, best place to find a new gold mine is obviously under or next to an old gold mine. Is that the case with Great Northern's assets? And if that's the case, is there an opportunity for small scale production or toll treatment, basically on the resources that you've identified so far, or is it far too early?
No, we're having those discussions at the moment. So we're close to Charters Towers, and so that's an option for toll treating. So we are having those discussions. And to the start of the question, yeah, so we're looking at under what has previously been mined. There was 150,000 ounces of high-grade gold mined across the 3 projects, and so all of our drilling has been to look underneath that, and so far it's been evident that it dips. The grade continues at depth.
You just mentioned Charters Towers. I'm assuming that's where the processing plant is, and how far away is that?
So it's about 100 kilometres away.
Oh, good. Okay. Now, if people are living in certain parts of the world, they go 100 kilometres, that's a long way. In Australia, that's like next door.
No, that's right. Yeah.
Douglas Creek, in your presentation, I just picked up on the fact that the copper sounds like it could be pretty interesting. We love Dr. Copper, and the supply demand for copper is going to be very strong. What's your thoughts on the potential for a strong copper discovery there?
Yeah, well, so we agree. Like, I mean, if you go back to that 12%, 11% copper from rock chip samples, you know, as I talked about Superior, who are right next door to us, and they've got some good copper gold numbers. So we've always thought that somewhere there was a discovery, and you know, we're keen to get out there and sort of, it's a decent footprint that we've got there with those 5 zones to sort of explore.
Copper, antimony, gold, those sorts of, are you looking, or are you prospective in your portfolio for any other minerals, I suppose potentially critical minerals?
Yeah, well, so we do, I mean, we assay for everything. So we've seen some lithium numbers there, which are good, and some lead numbers as well. So yeah, so we basically we assay for everything, and then look to pursue anything that we see as anomalous.
Okay, so wrapping it all up, Cameron, if you will, what's going to be the news flow? We're talking to you in September. What's the news flow look like for the rest of this year? And why should our audience sit up and take notice of Great Northern Minerals right now?
Yeah, so Golden Cup assays should be out within the next couple of weeks. We're continuing to look at discovery at Douglas Creek and getting our drill program ready. So that's ready to go now. So it's just waiting on native title clearance before we can get out there and drill. So assays from that, and then heading back to Camel Creek to try and increase that resource base, because that's probably our material increase is going to come from mostly at Camel Creek and Douglas Creek.
All right. Well, Cameron, it's been a great presentation. And please say hi to those guys that have been camping out there on site. What did you say? 2 months?
They're pretty wet at times.
Oh, dear. They're better people than me. I don't think I can cope. Anyway, Cameron McLean from Great Northern Minerals. Thanks so much for joining us. Ladies and gentlemen, the ASX code is GNM. Make sure that you go and check out the latest presentations on their website. Cameron, thanks so much for joining us at the NWR Aussie Resources Conference.
Thanks, Gary.